flagship horse chestnut weapon coffer. Item level 515. Alphino is feeling the need to take stock. Razia, do you have some time to talk? I would like to gather everyone in Dawn's Respite and together assess the situation in which we find ourselves. Hopefully this is picking out. Let us take stock of the facts, shall we? The crisis at hand began with the sudden appearances of ominous towers in a multitude of locations throughout the world. We have since learned that said structures were brought into being by an organization known as the Telophoroi. Are you just recapping everything to everybody who knows what's going on? Yep. Stated purpose is to recreate final days. Already these towers of theirs have been the cause of untold suffering. Countless innocents kidnapped and imprisoned, their faith perverted for primal summonings. And unless we find a way to deal with the corruptive aura surrounding the spires, we can't even get close enough to rescue anyone. Those shielded with the blessing of light seem able to resist being tempered at least. But after what happened to Arenvald and Fordola, we need to be very, very careful about how we proceed. Yet, while these threats close to home are of paramount concern, we mustn't lose sight of the situation in Garlemald. As you know, the Telophoroi are under the leadership of Fandaniel and one other delightful fellow, Xenocia Galvis, the Crown Prince and our dear friend. To date, he's reclaimed his old body, murdered Emperor Varus, and plunged Garlemald into an even deeper pit of chaos. The capital has probably seen the worst of it. For a good while there, it saw the bloodiest fighting in the War of Succession. But that has since changed, and in troubling ways. During our reconnaissance, the air was not once rent by the barking of cannons or the cries of discord. 'Twas an eerie fog of silence which did blanket that ruined city. The inhabitants appeared to have been tempered, and with nary a word spoken did they labor to transform the palace into a soaring edifice born of nightmares. If they were indeed made thralls, it would seem safe to assume that these events, too, were orchestrated by the Telophoroi. An army of primals is awful enough, but in light of recent developments, I fear it is only the prelude to an even greater catastrophe. We need to devise a means to counter this threat, and quickly, before our allies are overwhelmed. We will find a way in Harlian. I'm sure of it. Master Horsteno's comments regarding the final days were curious, to say the least. The Forum knows more than it is letting on. Sorry to interrupt. We've just received word from Mrs. Kryl. She says that our arrangements for your visit have been finalized. So we are going to Harlian first. You're to head to Limsa and board the next ship bound for Harlian. And on arrival, present yourselves as associates of the students of Baldadesian, come to assist with the Order's restoration. Kryl came through. The arrangements may be settled, but what of your thoughts? They must race at the prospect of returning home after so long. Yeah, especially after being, disowned by Daddy. I am eager to see it, of course. We should set off at once. Alfie? Forgive me while I... Yeah, the mic picked that up. Then I'll accompany you to the docks. You need at least one person there to wave and cry and wish you a safe journey. I'm still kind of tinfoil hatting on Tataru, not gonna lie. And I know I probably shouldn't be. I'm not sure I like the quest accepted music for Endwalker, I'm not gonna lie. Move that over just slightly. It's as good as it's gonna get. Speak with Tataru in Limsa Liminsa. No one is here to talk to other than FME. Why not? Let's talk to FME. Safe journeys and please do be okay. To Limsa. To Limsa Liminsa. Oh, well, when did Coden log on? Didn't even see that. And Sasha and Ruin are both AFK. They better not be AFK for too long. I am going to assume the Arcanist Guild. I love this map. It's so good. I can just point and click. I love it. He's all known trading company sailor. Talk to everybody first. Oh, poor Tataru. She is completely surrounded. Camera angle is Stinian. Sea travel can be tedious, but I don't mind it. 'Tis a rare experience for most Guardians. I never thought the day would come when I would be sailing home again. Always seems so very far away. Camera why? I shudder to think what manner of truth awaited us beyond the Indigo Deep. Still more do I dread the prospect of discussions long overdue. I think we're going to turn the camera back this way anyway. Contrary to what you might think, this will be like going home from me as well. I may have learned how to survive in Liminsa, but it was in Charlian where I was taught, quite relentlessly I might add, the skills to properly live. Stola? I might have lived in Master Matoya's cave for a good part of my life, but even for me, the thought of returning to Charlian is quite exciting. I can hardly imagine how it is for the others who lived most of their lives there. Though a part of me looks forward to returning home, I've not forgotten that my father stripped us of the privileges of our family name. I hope it doesn't cause troubles with the officials upon our arrival. What a grim reason to bring you to Charlian. Not much to be done about it, I suppose, but I would have liked to give you the grand tour under happier circumstances. Everyone's here, which is good, because I've already paid for your passage, and the fee is non-refundable. The ship for Charlian should be pulling into port soon, so please follow me and have all your luggage close at hand. This is pretty good music, actually. This isn't bad. Well, you're from the Rose Guild. To this Lalafell here. Don't recognize the other one, though. Though some people were saying that they were from the Samurai quest line. I don't really remember.
They've almost finished loading our cargo. We should be ready to depart right on schedule. Or so I'm told.
Excellent. 'Tis nice to have a smooth beginning to one's journey, at the very least.
It's funny. Master Louis Soir came here on a ship very much like this one. And now, years later, the street urchin he befriended that day is bound for his mentor's homeland. With his mentor's grandchildren, no less.
Aye. 'Tis upon reflection that every twist of time's river and fate's winds are brought into sharp relief.
God, I'm gonna be taking King so many
Thou hast matured
screenshots.
much in the intervening years. Wert thou not caught attempting to relieve Master Louis Soir of his purse scant moments after he made landfall upon this dock?
Getting called out.
Oh, really? Now that's a tale I'd like to hear.
Will this be your first visit to Charlian, Sir Estinian?
Sir Estinian?
Sir Estinian?
You're equals, Elfino. Drop the Sir
Are we
bullshit.
strangers newly met? Why this stiff formality?
Seriously!
I merely meant it as a professional courtesy, since we are now colleagues in an official sense.
You were friends
I'd rather
first.
dispense with the sirs, especially in private company. Or I'll be forced to respond in kind, little Lord Alphino.
You've made your point, Estinian. Painfully well.
Better.
Oh my god. That was so good. Tataru?
Are you alright, Tataru?
Oh, Tataru's not
seem
coming with
positively
us.
Distraught? Me? Don't be silly. I think it's lovely that they get to see their homeland. It's just, we're trying to thwart the schemes of an army hellbent on destroying the world. And once again, I have to stay behind and worry that this is the last time I'll get to see my friends.
I'll bring them back safe and sound. I promise.
I'll hold you to that.
Ah, good. You're still
Hori.
here.
Hori! Kultine! What brings you all this way?
What? They have voices.
We're to assist the Maelstrom and the Kobolds with a lunar primal operation.
Have they ever been voiced?
Before heading to the tower.
Have they ever been voiced?
Flamine and the others wish you all a safe journey and promise that they'll look after things here until you return.
I don't think Hori and Coltene have ever been voiced. And again, Coltene is not
We
talking,
will
so.
too, of course. Aye. We, your fellow Scions of the Seventh Dawn, will do our part to
So
ensure the end of the world
B team is still
won't happen on our
getting
watch.
stuff done. Good. Good.
We set the sail! All aboard for Charlian!
Time to go.
It's time.
Yeah.
Then we must delay no longer. We will contact you the moment we learn aught of value. Wish us luck.
Have a safe journey, and please, be careful.
I'm not sure I got that
And
in time.
so you venture forth into the
Damn
unknown.
it.
A fate beyond the horizon that cannot be divined. A future undefined and in flux.
This is slightly
In
different
uncertain
inflection
times,
than
naught
last trip.
but the simplest words of wisdom will suffice. That which lives is destined to die. Love leads to loss. Every beginning has an end. Treasure every moment, every step of your descent.
They recorded those lines twice. Once for the actual game, once for the
And there,
launch
in the depths where souls and
trailer.
stars rest, find your truth.
That was much more sinister than how he said it in the launch trailer. I don't like it. But off to Charlian. And you're gonna stop us part way, aren't you? Yup. Maybe. Maybe not. No. old Charlian. What? Why? Why am I hearing answers again?
Here.
Hmm.
Feel. Think.
The day has barely dawned, my fellow earlier riser. Though we're hardly alone in that. Envious of those still sleeping soundly, no doubt.
Why am I hearing answers? I don't like that.
Called out to you, you say? I've heard nothing myself.
Well, you wouldn't have heard it. You don't have the echo. My dear
In any
sir.
case, I dare say the sea air will do you good. Why not join the others on deck? Charlian should be coming into view at any moment.
Yep.
My voice yet reaches you. I am glad.
Yes, Vana, your voice still reaches us.
Hear, feel, think. And thus do we meet face to face at last, my warrior of light, guided by the crystal.
Heidelin. Not even. Not even. Oh. I can trust your words no longer. Think that might be a response for Irva. Why now, Heidelin?
After your sojourn in the First, I believe you have your answer. You have gained an understanding of what I truly am, what Heidelin has always been, a primal. Zodiac was created to forestall the apocalypse which threatened the ancient world, and I was brought forth to bind him. Yet 7 times now, those who would orchestrate a return to that bygone era have rejoined a shard to the god I had sundered. The greater his strength grows, the swifter does mine own diminish. The power to draw your mind into the rift betwixt is no longer mine to wield.
She can't call to us.
Yet though it taxes me sorely, I dare not leave these words unsaid.
Oh my gosh.
Even bereft of my guidance, you and your companions have accepted the burden of this star's troubled past. A conjunction has begun to form, an intertwining of your time and mine. Wheels shudder and turn, conflict looms, monumental, which will decide the fate of this world and all life upon it. When you truly understand what is at stake, and your journey has prepared you to surmount the insurmountable, then shall I honor the promise made in another time, another age.
What? Promise?
Cast your peepers to the fore, folks. Sharlian's just over yonder.
What promise?
I will not keep you further. Your traveler's heart must yearn to behold this unfamiliar land. We shall meet again, and soon.
Oh, what a fine morning. Oh, still a bit stiff though.
And a good morning to you too. Taken a look at the island already?
Then let's go. Let's go. Might still be room in the prow if we're lucky.
Ah, the sleepers have arisen. There she is. Good old Sharlian.
Oh, I see it.
Home. Home at last. Well, maybe not in Father's eyes, but we'll manage on our own, if we must.
You do know you're not alone in this, don't you? Indeed, 'tis as Sir Estinian saith. Forget not the comrades who boarded this ship at your side, I prithee.
Thank you, my friends. We are ever grateful for your steadfast support.
Upon arrival, we will be disembarking into the heart of Sharlian proper. There is no greater concentration of wisdom in all the world. I am confident that somewhere within that center of knowledge and learning, we will find the answers we seek.
Sharlian, the solitary island nation of the northern seas. Where under the watchful gaze of Thaliak, patron deity of scholars, academics hoard all manner of knowledge and secrets. Once, they deigned to accept foreign students into a distant colony maintained in the Dravanian hinterlands. How swiftly they abandoned it once the first Garlean boot set hostile foot on Alamegan soil. so averse to the prosecution of war, these men of wisdom, your would-be allies?
The Northern Empty, Old Charlian.
I thought they'd never let us off the ship. What's next then? Entry applications?
Hopefully they find no cause to deny us.
Hasn't Charlian all but severed relations with foreign powers? Those of us without direct ties, myself included, may be refused outright.
'Tis true that, as a nation, Charlian only forms trade agreements with a select few neutral countries. But from a practical standpoint, an island cannot afford to be overly strict with its borders, especially not if that island's people are wholly devoted to the accumulation of knowledge. If one submits the proper paperwork with satisfactory evidence of identity and intent, then foreigners may be granted entry.
May.
Quite. So let us be absolutely clear on these points before we proceed. The immigration officer will ask for your affiliation and your purpose of visit. Considering Charlian's views on intervention, I strongly suggest we avoid any mention of the Scions.
Kryl told us what to say.
Kryl has laid the groundwork for us to act as associates of the students of Baldessian, and our ostensible reason for being here is to aid in their order's restoration. Grahatir, it might expedite our progress should an actual student be seen at the head of our little group. Would you mind leading the way?
Of course. The immigration officers were this way, as I recall. Shall we? Greetings. We've just arrived and are eager to make our way into the city. Would you be so kind as to process our entry applications?
Certainly. I see by your mark you are an Archon.
I am. Grahat here of the students of Baldessian at your service. I was assigned to an Eorzean survey team, but have returned to assist with the reformation of my order. My associates here will provide additional support.
Very good. I have paperwork detailing your group and its scheduled arrival for today.
That was a look.
And it seems some few of your companions are also Archons. If you'll step forward, we can process those applications first.
Ishtola rule.
See how it glows. That list is etherically linked with a citizen registry kept in the main repository.
I've confirmed your status as Archons and amended your travel records accordingly. Welcome home. Now, who do we have here?
I wonder if Daddy Forshno did something here already.
Alphino Leveilleur.
And Alize Leveilleur.
This is going to be problematic.
Your applications have also been approved. Having said that, the streets are abuzz with talk of how House Leveilleur's lord disowned his young progeny. such personal circumstances constitute no reason to deny you entry, I urge you to avoid exacerbating your present situation. Times are quite troubled enough already.
Hmm? What do you mean by times are troubled?
We shall keep that in mind.
These last two are not Sharlian natives, but you will find their credentials are in order. An application was made in advance.
Name and occupation?
Razia Orlandis, adventurer by trade.
An adventurer? Well, I suppose that is considered a valid calling in your native Eorzea, and it does indeed match the profile provided. You may enter. And you, sir?
Estinian Valino, formerly of the Order of the Knights Dragoon in Ishgard.
Formally, at least. And what, pray tell, is your profession now?
Can't exactly mention the Scions. Oh, Kryl coming.
If you'll allow me.
Kryl? That timing.
My associate is a mercenary, hired for his strength at arms. Surely you are aware of the dangers we often face on our forays into the wilderness.
Mistress Baldessian, if you insist on sponsoring his entry, then so be it. But while I appreciate that desperate times call for desperate measures, I find your choice of company concerning. Be advised that even a single misstep may have severe repercussions for your organization.
I have every confidence in my chosen company, dear and trusted comrades that they are. But I thank you for your concern.
That wasn't concern. That was a threat.
Kryl, it is good to see you.
Likewise. Long voyage notwithstanding, you all seem none the worse for wear. There is much to discuss, but this is hardly the place. Let's be on our way, shall we? Oh! Welcome, friends, to Sharlian.
As your mercenary, I should hope my welcome includes a generous salary.
Well, I had to say something, Sir Taciturn.
I am unaccustomed to fabricating lies on demand. Why should it matter how I earn my living? Here we are at last, the great city of Sharlian. You may have noticed some similarities with the Crystarian, yes? In fact, Oh, but we really should let Kryl have her say first. We can continue this conversation another time. That was about as awkward as expected. Still, we're here now. That's all that matters. I'm fine. Honestly, it's better to be waved through with a stern warning than be denied entry, after all. Even allowing that the years I spent in the first passed here in the blink of an eye, this city feels untouched by time. You are doubtless eager to take in the sights. Not to worry, Razia. The city is not like to vanish before we finish our discussion. Allow me to extend unto thee my warmest welcome, Razia. May the wisdom of my homeland aid us in our endeavors. I'm glad I spotted your ship coming into port. The officers are born bureaucrats and sticklers for detail. In any case, you may relax and take a moment to get your land legs back. Old Shalian and new to you. There's a chest coffer here. Kryl sweeps the signs with a speculative look. Just in case this isn't voice, but I have a feeling it is. Nope. I had thought to launch directly into an explanation of what I've learned and how we might proceed. But this is Razia and Estinian's first time in Shalian, and for the rest of you, a homecoming that was long overdue. You must have places you wish to visit and people you're dying to see. Therefore, I propose we postpone our agenda so that you all may have sufficient time to recover from your journey and get your bearings in this city. Once you've settled in, we can reconvene at the Baldedesian Annex. Oh, how does that sound? 'Tis a fine suggestion. We may not be welcome at your estate as such, but I should like to nose around the neighborhood all the same. I am equally untethered, as it were. There is no particular place that my kin call home. Still, I would not pass up the opportunity to reacquaint myself with the city. Likewise, a quick tour of our old haunts might even yield some useful gossip. The annex was west of the Hathroy Plaza, wasn't it? I shall join you there anon. Yes, we'll see you there. And Urianja's just like, what do I do? I too have places I would be remiss in not visiting forthwith. By thy leave. What of you, Estinian? My services as a guide are yours for the asking. That won't be necessary. Until we reconvene, I prefer to wander as the wind takes me. But I could... Oh. Kryl, you're precious. Well, Raha, would you like to join us then? You've been gone for quite a while, and this would be the perfect way to... You've been gone for quite a while. As far as he's concerned, it's been over 100 flipping years. Be the perfect way to refresh those dusty old memories of yours. Of course, if you will have me. Come, Razia. Shalian awaits. I love that Kryl is on such friendly terms with him. Okay, the quest music is starting to grow on me a little bit. Oh dear. His enthusiasm is infectious, isn't it? That's a word for it. After you, my friend. I am more than content to follow your lead. Grahatia is now accompanying you. Keep him at your side in order to proceed with quest objectives. You can leave Grahatia behind by entering a different area, using the Aethernet, or by putting too much distance between you. You can also speak with Grahatia and select the option to part ways. If you wish to have Grahatia accompany you again, return and speak to him at the original location. While Grahatia is accompanying you, next try speaking with Kryl. Talk. Do not forget Mrs. Kryl, our worthy guide. All set? Then let us be on our way. Our first stop, amusingly enough, will be the last stand. It's a cafe on the west side of the harbor. Kryl is also not coming. You lead your two companions to the last stand and speak with Kryl at the designated location. While you are accompanied, you may encounter conversation points along the way which offer additional topics of discussion. Enter the glowing area and speak with your quest companions to initiate these bonus conversations. Enjoy. I love this! Oh, I love this so much! No. Talk. Come on, let us head to the cafe. It may not seem so at a glance, but the Last Stand is actually a very important part of the city. I'm grateful to have Kral's help in reacquainting myself with this place. It's almost as if I'm seeing it all with new eyes, as you are. Okay, first of all, I'm doing this. Oh, I probably can't yet, can I? Yeah, in order to be eligible for the quest, the hunt for specimens, you must have met. You must have completed the side quest Elite and Dangerous. You must have completed the maze. Oh, okay, so I need to do the current quest first. Okay. Can I even attune to the Aethernet shards yet? I can't. Okay. It will at least allow that. Scholar's Heart. Let me see. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the actual Aetherite. Okay. Are they affected by Peloton? Yes. Okay, excellent. Discuss the giant statue in the harbor. Now that is a sight one could hardly forget. The great statue of Thaliak. As a student of Aldessian, I was usually quartered on the Isle of Val, but I would gaze upon the scholar's wise features every time I returned by ship to the city. This path leading out towards the sea is known as the Thaliak, so named for the statue of the scholar which stands at its end. As you know, the Shalian people prize the accumulation of wisdom above all else. Thus, when Thaliak was chosen as our patron deity, it was more a matter of pragmatism than belief, an alignment of principles, as it were. We may have honored him with a rather impressive sculpture, yes, but our faith is not so restrictive as that of, say, the Ishgardians. Individual Shalians can, and do, worship the divinities of their choosing. Ah yes, the Last Stand. Now that is an inviting aroma. And here we are, the Last Stand. I may have mentioned this before, but although our research into nutrition and food preparation is quite extensive, the average Shalian tends to regard seasoning and flavor with a certain indifference. How can I put this? The food is, it's bland. As encapsulated by our infamous Archon loaf, the prevailing sentiment towards cuisine is dietary value first, and taste a distant second. There was one pupil at the studium, however, who could stomach the school's insipid meals no longer. So he quit his lessons and poured all his savings into building a proper eatery. And so the Last Stand came to be. It is, as the name implies, the sole dedicated outpost of fine dining in Shalian. The one and only bastion of the culinary arts in an isle of otherwise mediocre fare. I seem to recall their burger being hailed as one of the more impressive items on the menu. Not that I ever had the pleasure of eating one myself, because you were a typical Shalian when it came to cheap and convenient raha. But surely Tataru has since taught you how to appreciate a well-prepared dish. We should all stop in when time permits and sample the cafe's delights. Shall we press on? The stairs to the side of the cafe there will take us up to the Aetherite Plaza. The students of Baldessian would send us to investigate phenomena in locations across the world, so our funds were always stretched thin, and any spare coin I had went to books that caught my eye. Food was the least of my concerns, though now, having lived through some rather harrowing times, I've learned what a fortunate thing it is to be able to eat your fill. On to the Aetherite Plaza we go. We just need to head up the stairs next to the Last Stand. That delay, though. sure I do this. Otherwise, I will forget. The Aetheryte looks different from how I remember it. Really? Well, that's interesting to note. An unusual shape, isn't it? I assure you, however, that it's a perfectly functioning Aetheryte. Remember to attune yourself before we move on. Now, being the diligent tour guide that I am, I should make mention of the Confluence, a research facility located on this Harry Plaza. It is much vaunted, its much vaunted discoveries are the reason Sharlayan stands at the forefront of teleportation technology. In deciphering the underlying principles of Algan Aetherites, it allowed us to understand and reconstruct what was essentially a lost art. And off we go to our next destination. Our path leads northeast to the Agora, Sharlayan's largest marketplace. The markets. I always did look forward to seeing what new wares they had on offer. You've attuned yourself to the Aetherite? Then let's continue on to the Agora. So that's going to be all the way over there, I take it? Oh no, it's just right over here. Do you mind if I browse the shelves for a moment? There might be some hidden gems I've yet to read. Only a moment? How optimistic. Feel free to browse all you like, but we won't wait around for you. Perhaps I'll return here later then. Hurrah! Let him read! These little open-air bookstalls are so uniquely Sharlayan. I'd always thought them a common sight until I visited other nations. Is there no... Oh, I guess they're right by the... I guess it doesn't matter. Anything worth... Is there... Anything worth cracking my coin purse for today, I wonder. Welcome to the Agora, where you can find wares made in Sharlayan, as well as a wide selection of imported goods. They also used to sell questionable prototypes from the various research institutes, but I think that practice has thankfully died out, for the most part. Otherwise, I can think of no better place to stock up for your next big adventure. Am I overselling it? On a more serious note, the next stop on our tour is one which has particular relevance to our ultimate purpose here. We must head back to the Aetherite Plaza, follow the path north, then climb the stairs up to that imposing building at the very top. It is a fascinating experience to walk around the city and contrast my image of the past with the reality of the present. The building we're looking for sits at the top of the stairs, to the north of the Aetherite. Just keep walking up and you'll reach it eventually. The district we're passing through is called Archon's Design, a name which honors the 7 individuals whose contributions were instrumental in the founding of Sharlayan. It is the city's political and financial center, and it also hosts a collection of research institutions. I'm checking something first. Okay, first of all, gemstone. Oh, you're probably gonna be like the other, materials. Archon loaf. Ah, sorry. Not what I was looking for, though. There we go. Full plate armoire. I'm curious what this stuff looks like. Hydrodurium talons. Hydurium, okay. Just kind of glancing at these. These look really cool. This spear's always so hard to see. assuming the shield is down here. Yeah. This stuff is so gorgeous! Oh, that's cool. This gear looks so good. How does that die? Not sure I like this scouting. I'm guessing striking is basically this. It's a little bit different, actually. I'm not sure I like the fending stuff as much. And that's just gonna be a color change. Fieldcraft gear. AR. Oh, this is also good. This goes up to level 90 stuff too. Ooh. Some of this gathering gear looks good. How about the crafting gear? I shouldn't be taking the time to fucking do this. The crafting gear looks... except for that one. Okay, the first two don't look quite as good, but the others look really damn good. Okay, I'm good. Oh, wait, tool supplier. I was gonna say, I guess I don't really pay much attention to those anyway. Oh, back to the Aetheryte Plaza. There's a retainer vocate. Market board. Then north. There's an Aetheryte there. Or there's an Aethernet shard there. So just follow the stairs. Yep. Wait, this isn't even... This is a different one altogether. It's just the one. This is the Nymphaeum, an area dedicated to the blessings of water. For Shalians, water represents more than a life-sustaining liquid. It is a reminder of the great flood which precipitated the birth of our nation, as well as a symbol of the knowledge which flows from Thaliak's divine ewer. This is the reason you see an abundance of fountains throughout the city, and a propensity for utilizing water as a decorative feature of in our architecture. Yeah. These little decorative features are typical of Shalian architecture. Aside from the research wing, our headquarters on the Isle of Val were rather simple and rustic by comparison. Oh, it's actually up further, okay. Archon's design, and it's gonna take me right by the Aethernet crystal anyway. Aethernet shard, rather. Whatever. That's the studium. What an invigorating breeze. A touch biting, perhaps, but pleasant nonetheless. This grand structure before you is the Rostra. The name refers to the original public platform erected here, upon which a forum of elected representatives would deliver orations and debate policy. Although the stage has since evolved into council chambers, the nature of the forum and the duties of its members remain largely unchanged. Am I boring you, Raha? You seem awfully distracted. My apologies. From here one can see the entire city spread out below. The vista put me in mind of my rival in the first. Those who had gathered at the Crystal Tower asked me how they might go about building a new home. Naturally, my answers were all inspired by my knowledge of the finest settlement I could think of, the great city of Sharlayan. And bit by bit, those few buildings grew into a town, a community, the Crystarium. I can almost see its echo. I see. Feel free to come up here whenever you wish. I don't think the counselors would object to you simply enjoying the view. Such a memory should be treasured. For now, however, the tour must go on. Our spectacle of sightseeing concludes with the fittingly named Journey's End. Walk down the stairs to the east and continue straight ahead. There's 2 Aethernets there, one behind us. I want to grab that later. Oh, I didn't talk to them, did I? That just reminded me of directions. Do you not feel the cold? Granted, it's not terribly chilly for these northern climes, but compared to the temperate weather of Limensa, I'm used to living in Ishgard at times. This neighborhood is home to the highest echelons of Sharlayan society. I never did feel comfortable enough to wander these streets on a whim. We've arrived at Journey's End. History tells us that this was where those who put ashore with Harkonnen built their first homes. In the present day, it serves as the residential district for the most important officials and the oldest Sharlayan families. You'll see that one mansion is clearly larger than its neighbors. That estate belongs to our friends from the house here. All things considered, we should probably keep our distance for the time being. And with that, we bring our little Sharlayan tour to a close. I hope it has proven to be an entertaining and enlightening experience. Now, shall we head directly to the Baldessian Annex? You remember the way, don't you, Raha? Let me think. We head down towards the harbor, cross the bridge to our right, then follow the path below the Aetherite Plaza. Correct? After Eurasia. The good old Annex. I used to bunk there whenever I had business in this city proper. Like the time I came to submit the thesis for my Archon qualification. Have I tired you out with all this walking? Not to worry. I had rooms prepared for you at the Annex. Just follow the path to the west side of the Aetherite and we'll be there in no time. Yes, but I have Aethernet shards to attune to first. Access to the... specifically to the Leveilleur estate. Okay. That's don't like that. I don't want direct connection to that place right now. Journeys. Then from here... Oh! I'm glad I did this. Right, we cross this bridge here, as I recall. Stick to the path and be careful not to end back in the Aetherite Plaza. Sharlayan is full of educational and research institutions. There are still professors who prefer to establish their own private practices. Not that I ever attended the exclusive schools they run in these residences. Perhaps the twins could tell you more about them. this studium is the last one. Okay. This is it, the Baldessian Annex. Oh, that was riveting. As the joyous look on Raha's face has undoubtedly informed you, this is the Baldessian Annex. If you continue up the hill, you'll arrive on the doorstep of Phenomenon. But I think we've explored enough for one day. We can take you there another time. Inside with you then? I'm back, and I've brought Razia and Raha with me. Ah, you were right about the ship then. Hello, Graha. It's nice to see you again. And it's a pleasure to finally meet you, Razia. I've heard many a tale of your exploits. Ojika? Ojika Sunjika. It's been an age. Allow me to introduce Ojika Sathunjika, an administration officer for the students of Baldessian. He oversees the day-to-day business to the annex, or of the annex. You may recall meeting his cousin, Ejika? Oh yes, Eureka. I've read the initial reports. Quite a shock to hear what's become of the Isle. Do take care if you have the opportunity to rejoin. Oh, okay, so that dialogue changes if you've actually gotten done with Eureka, then? Rip. This place is like a second home for the students. The Isle of Val served as our main headquarters, of course, but we often had occasion to visit Charlian. Whether to make use of this city's research facilities, attend conferences, or procure supplies from distant shores. And the annex here was built to provide lodgings for our members while we engage in such activities. Ever since our former headquarters, along with the isle itself, vanished, the annex has served as our base of operations. Yet, it feels so empty. With so many lost to us, our organization is a shell of its former self. The day will come when we will see the students rise again. But first, we must ensure that the Tlaferoi fall. Through that door on the left there is... Through that door on the left there is the main hall, where we can discuss our options moving forward. Once everyone arrives, that is, you probably have time to rest before our discussions begin in earnest. I've had private quarters prepared for you in the Hendron, so please feel free to make yourself at home. Ah, the nap room's perfect for an afternoon doze. Oh, I didn't mean to give you the wrong impression. The chambers are quite well appointed, far more so than some cheap roadside inn, you may be assured. 'Twas simply that we were often so busy with research or exhausted from journeys abroad that we would slip into the Andron just to steal a few winks. And thus they became known amongst the students as nap rooms, even if many such naps might last well into the following morning. Say the word and I'll be happy to show you to your chamber. Hopefully the others won't be too long in coming. I'll wait for you all in the main hall. Hello! Oh, speak with Kryl in the main hall. Oh, hi Graha. Do you have papers pasted out on the walls of your room? 'Twas not unusual for occupants to pin up notes or documents and such, and then forget to take them when they went on their merry way. Sometimes it was quite deliberate, though. You might see complaints addressed to other members, or a thank you card for the engrossing literature someone left behind. Beloved traditions that I should know better than to dwell upon. If If we are to create a future for the students of Aldessian and so many others, we must look to the days ahead. Feeling refreshed and alert? Our colleagues should be wandering in soon, so I suggest we stay here and wait for them to join us.
Pray forgive me. I was delayed.
It's fine, Oriange. We're all here now.
Let's get down to business then, shall we? Come what may, we must prevent the Telophoroi's plans from coming to fruition. At present, I see two paths for gathering the information which may aid us in achieving that goal. The first involves an investigation into the change which has come over Sharlayan, not to mention the recent inscrutable behavior of the Forum. As most of you know, the 99 members of the Forum are elected from the general populace. This alone guarantees a plethora of opinion with regards to foreign policy. The bibliotheques, for example, are a group of conservatives which would have Sharlayan focus on recording history, while remaining entirely uninvolved in the making of it. And at the other extreme, we have advocates for proactive diplomacy and direct intervention. My grandfather Galef was one such member, as was Archon Louisois. Yet despite our diverse factions and philosophies, the recent vote to deny Eorzea's request for assistance was unanimous. Even more concerning was the fact that many cited other, more pressing duties as justification for their recalcitrance.
That's odd.
Fortuno's refusal in Gridania had those same undertones. 'Twas as if, having stared unblinking into the face of impending doom, he had simply turned away to pursue something more important. But what could that possibly be?
A mystery indeed, and one which I ask for your help to solve. Our future may depend on it. As for our second potential path, it concerns a request made directly to the students of Baldessian. Our organization was founded primarily to study strange and unexplained phenomena the world over. Mysterious relics and ruins, arcane disturbances, and so forth. Compared to our more isolationist Sharlayan colleagues, we have strong connections overseas, namely with scholars and academics who share our passion for the unknown.
Going to
The
Thavnair.
request in question comes from one such acquaintance, Nidana, an alchemist residing in distant Thavnair. Her missive describes the sudden appearance of a tower, and the subsequent summoning of what I can only assume is a lunar primal.
Even in Thavnair.
In response to this threat, the satrap of Radzat-Han, the individual who governs the city-state, has instructed the alchemists to find a means to deal with the spire.
The artisans of that land are heirs to an ancient tradition, one rather unlike that of their Uldan counterparts. 'Tis possible, nay, probable, that they have gleaned truths unobtainable by Eorzea or her Far Eastern allies.
They do, in fact, appear to have a strategy in mind, though it will require further research. To that end, they have requested an introduction to a capable warrior shielded by the blessing of light.
Assuming we divide our forces to pursue both of Kral's lines of inquiry, then having you join the group heading to Thavnair would seem the obvious choice.
I mean, seems like the only choice.
But the investigation in Charlian is of vital importance as well. Equal, I think, to the Thavnarian one, given that the fate of the world may hinge on the results of both.
Yes, it is quite the quandary. Though it is a great imposition and an altogether too common one, our efforts would be more likely to succeed were you to lead the charge on both fronts.
Oh. Oh, is this another split like we had in Shadowbringers?
As to which task to tackle first,
Yep.
we will defer
Okay,
to your
okay, okay.
decision. Let us next decide how everyone else might best be assigned. As for myself, I shall continue what I've begun in Charlian. I should also like to steal the services of an Archon or two.
And thereby gain access to a greater range of reading material. I will help with that.
Allow me to offer my assistance. I have some small amount of experience in the field of research.
Alize and I would also like to help, if you would have us.
Anything to understand even a fraction of what our father and the Forum might be thinking. Of course, the more the merrier.
Right. The rest of us will make the journey to Thavner. Thoughts? Objections?
I passed through Thavner on my way to infiltrate the Empire, and though I'm not qualified to give a guided tour, I did gain a sense of where things lie.
I'll be happy to have you along then. So for this group, it will be you, me, and Urianger.
Give me a moment afterwards, and I'll supply you with all the details of Nadana's request. Consider this hall our rendezvous point once our respective tasks are complete. May our investigations prove fruitful.
I have concerns. Oh, for one thing, that's done. If this is anything like the split in Shadowbringers, one of them's going to be slightly disturbing, but mostly tame, and the other one is going to have a horrific, terrifying experience. I don't like that. Well, let's talk to everyone not a quest giver first. Though I have read much on the subject of Razathan, this visit shall be my first. 'Twill be interesting to see how the Hanish mean to contend with the tower, different as their magical and technological disciplines are. So it's back to Thavner. Had I known earlier, I would have considered more suitable attire. I still don't understand how the vote could be unanimous. What could possibly convince them all to turn their backs on Eorzea? If the Forum is intent on concealing its intentions, then a cursory investigation will avail us little, I suspect. We will need to dig deeper, and with the greatest of care. The process by which Forum members are elected is fair and equitable. Neither wealth nor social standing offers any advantages to a prospective candidate. But fairly elected or not, Masamatoya still found them all to be insufferable. Our tour of the city was a pleasant distraction. I feel more than ready now to tackle the challenges of the day. Well, we're going to do a split here. Need to take care of a few things, and I will be returning.